If what we just heard in Congress is even half true, then America has a crisis far bigger than Jeffrey Epstein. We have a crisis of power, a crisis of truth, and a crisis of an FBI director who can't answer the simplest damn question. Is Donald Trump on Epstein's client list? Because when the most powerful law enforcement official in the country dodges like he's on a trampoline, you know something rotten is sitting behind the curtain.
Mr. Patel, I want to start off where we left off last time. I asked you whether you had any knowledge or discussions about removing FBI officials and installing political personnel before you were confirmed to that position. And I wonder, did you then understand or have conversations with the White House about the intentions to do so?
Before I was confirmed?
Yes, sir.
Did I have discussions with the White House to remove FBI personnel?
Yes.
No.
So you're saying that you had no discussions with the White House before you were in the position about the removal of any personnel from the agency?
As I was preparing for my confirmation hearing, I had numerous discussions involving the type of people that would be employed, and that those that were failing to meet the mark at the FBI would no longer be employed if I were confirmed.
And I'm assuming that mark had to do with loyalty to the Trump administration?
No, you're wrong.
Okay. I'd like to revisit another subject from that hearing. Did you testify, you did testify before the grand jury that President Trump had declassified the documents at issue in the Mar-a-Lago classified documents case. Is that correct?
I don't have the grand jury transcript. That's why I released it. Whatever it says is the best evidence.
That's what you said to Senator Whitehouse, that your grand jury testimony was publicly released. It has not been. In fact, in July, a court denied a news outlet's bid to get that transcript. But the court said quite clearly that you are free to discuss your grand jury testimony. So I ask you again, did you testify before the grand jury that President Trump declassified the documents at issue in the Mar-a-Lago classified document case?
And that is why I took your invitation to work with the department and the court to have that transcript released. And the transcript is the best evidence of what I said then.
So you're saying right now this committee can have access to what you said before the grand jury?
To whatever was released. Under my understanding, Senator, that the Department of Justice
You and I both understand the law. Let me finish. I understand under Rule 6 of the Federal Rules of Procedure, a grand jury witness, in this case you, is not barred from sharing their grand jury testimony. This is an oversight hearing. This is germane to your integrity and credibility. You know right now whether or not you testified that President Trump declassified the documents at issue in the Mar-a-Lago classified documents case. Why are you refusing to answer that simple yes or no question right now?
Because the premise of your question is inaccurate, and
there is no premise to my question, but trying to get to an order of what is truth or not.
How do you know what was asked in the grand jury if you weren't there?
Mr. Patel, this is a mockery you're making of this hearing and simple questions.
It's a simple question. If you have a transcript, you can read the question, but you don't have it.
You promised that, quote, all...
Welcome back to True Liberty. And listen, I need you locked in for this one. What unfolded in that hearing wasn't just political theater. It was a window into how elite networks shield themselves, how accountability evaporates when the powerful are involved, and how institutions that claim to protect democracy suddenly forget how subpoenas work when the wrong billionaire's name comes up. I'm serious. My jaw hit the floor. You're watching a member of Congress ask basic oversight questions. Did the FBI interview the journalist who saw the photos? Did the FBI subpoena Epstein's estate? Did the FBI review all the files? Is Trump on the list? And the FBI director responded like he was auditioning for the role of ambiguous answer man in a straight-to-DVD political thriller. If you want more deep dives like this, you know how it goes. Stick around, stay plugged in. I love having you here.
You promised that, quote, all FBI employees will be protected against political retribution. When I asked you, are you aware of any plans or discussions to punish in any way, including termination, FBI agents or personnel associated with the Trump administration, you explicitly said under oath that you were not aware of any plans to punish FBI agents associated with criminal investigations of Donald Trump. I don't believe you were truthful. Firing FBI employees based solely on the cases that they are investigating, their case assignments, is illegal, and you know that. A new lawsuit that's been discussed numerous times, filed by 3 FBI officials, alleges that you carried out Donald Trump's campaign of retribution, in quotes, against FBI employees for, quote, failure to demonstrate sufficient political loyalty. One of those plaintiffs has been discussed today, Brian Driscoll. Now, we know 20 years of distinguished service to the FBI before you terminated him. special agent in charge of FBI's Newark field office, where he operated with distinction, Medal of Valor winner, Shield of Bravery awards. He's a patriot. You terminated Driscoll via a letter dated October 8th, 2025, and in that letter you said that you were firing him pursuant to Article 2 of the Constitution. Well, you're not the President of the United States, and so I'm wondering under what authority you were allowed to terminate him.
That matter is under litigation, and I'm not able to discuss it.
Okay, well, discuss this. Did you have discussions with Stephen Miller about firing this particular person or about his continuance in the FBI?
Not that I recall.
How often do you speak to Stephen Miller?
Frequently on our Homeland Security task forces.
You frequently discuss with Stephen Miller about subjects other than Homeland Security task force issues, correct?
I frequently talk to Mr. Miller about Homeland Security task forces.
Has Stephen Miller ever given you his opinions on how to run your agency?
Mr. Miller's interagency operations are invaluable to the FBI. That's what we talk about.
So you frequently discuss your job and your responsibilities with Stephen Miller and Pam Bondi, I imagine, as well.
Absolutely. She's the Attorney General.
Understood. Okay. Donald Trump promised to make us all safer. You have pushed out senior FBI agents with decades of knowledge and experience. In fact, this is the first time in FBI history that neither the director nor the deputy director have any experience with the FBI. You've shifted the agency's priorities primarily to pursuing Donald Trump's immigration enforcement agenda. According to ICE data, the Cato Institute, which is a conservative think tank, found that 20% of all agents have been diverted from their work to assist ICE immigration enforcement. 20%. Part of this operation is the work of mass law enforcement who jump out of cars, snatch people off streets at churches, schools, and their jobs and hospitals. Have there been any FBI agents who investigate crimes against children that have been assigned to immigration enforcement, yes or no?
The premise of what you say is entirely
false. Have there been
false.
any FBI agents who investigate foreign domestic terrorism?
You don't get to say America is not safer under this leadership.
I am not saying
America is safer because of the work of the FBI.
You're making a presumption of premise.
4,700 children.
Sir,
we have seen 6,000 weapons and 23,000 violent felons have been arrested.
You are not denying that FBI agents who investigate human trafficking have been reassigned to immigration enforcement. You are not denying that FBI agents who are on the task force that fight against Russian oligarchs have not been reassigned. Public Corrections Squad reassigned. People who defend children reassigned. You're not denying that. I've seen
FBI
time and
agents
time
don't
again
get reassigned.
attack my colleagues' premises of questions as a way to not answer the question. So let me end with this.
But here's the part that should scare every single one of us. The director wasn't just vague, he was evasive. And evasiveness at that level isn't random, it's strategic. And it tells us something about who gets protected in this country and who doesn't. Patel claims, if photos of Trump existed, they'd have surfaced over 20 years. Oh, really? Then how did Trump's creepy birthday message, hidden for years, suddenly pop up only after the Wall Street Journal published it and the Epstein estate scrambled to release documents? Elite accountability doesn't happen automatically. It happens when someone gets cornered. And you know who never gets cornered? The wealthy, powerful men at the center of exploitation networks. Conservatives want this to be a partisan spat. But the deeper truth is this. Epstein wasn't a lone monster. He was a node in a global power network that protects billionaire predation, silences victims, and launders reputations. This isn't about left versus right. It's about power versus people.
Let me end with this. I believe you have made our country weaker and less safe. I believe that we are more vulnerable to a major event, and I pray to God it doesn't happen. You've gutted the Bureau of Institutional Knowledge and Expertise. You fired or pushed out seasoned FBI officials, many with more than 20 years of experience, and were working on cases that were critical. You've been purging thousands of serious law enforcement officials who spent their careers keeping us safe, only to lower hiring standards in order to find anyone to replace them. And shockingly, you admitted in this hearing to Senator Coons that it would take 14 years to fill the vacancies at your agency. Many are the result of your purge. 20% of FBI agents are doing low-level immigration enforcement instead of their mission-critical work. You've disbanded entire task forces that stop election interference, foreign influence, public corruption. And who benefits from this? Well, corrupt people benefit from it. Criminals benefit from it. Vladimir Putin benefits from it. And it really makes me wonder who you're looking out for. It makes me think we can't trust you as a nation. You swear to release the Epstein files, but now you're withholding the Epstein files. You claim that you have a suspect in a serious assassination. Whoops, then you don't have a suspect. You know nothing about plans to remove FBI agents, yet you're directly involved in those plans. In the words of an ex-FBI official, you are overseeing, and I quote, generational destruction of the nation's premier law enforcement agency. Mr. Patel, in just 8 months, you have assaulted the institutional integrity of the FBI. But I know FBI field agents. I've worked with them in Newark. No matter how truly bad you are, you can't undermine the legacy of agents who fight every day to keep us safe, but you can tarnish the integrity of the agency and undermine the agency's capacity. I believe you're failing as a leader, and that your failure does have serious implications for the safety and security of Americans and our families. We're more vulnerable to domestic and foreign attack because of your failures of leadership. I don't think you're fit to hand the Bureau, but here's the thing, Mr. Patel. I think you're not going to be around long. I think this might be your last oversight hearing. Because as much as you supplicate yourself to the will of Donald Trump and not the Constitution of the United States of America, Donald Trump has shown us in his first term and in this term, he is not loyal to people like you. He will cut you loose. This may be the last time I have a hearing with you because I don't think you're long for your job. But I'm going to tell you this, I pray for you. I pray for you that you can step up and defend your oath, defend the Constitution, and do a much better job of defending this country. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Patel tried to argue. The Epstein estate is under no obligation to comply with an FBI subpoena. That is legally incoherent. Subpoenas are literally how institutions obtain evidence. If the FBI can't enforce subpoenas, then every poor kid sitting in jail for ignoring a court summons should walk free tomorrow. But of course, that's the point. Power bends the law. Wealth buys immunity. Institutions contort themselves to avoid looking too closely at the wrong elite circles. Let's zoom out. When migrant farm workers accuse employers of exploitation, conservatives mock them. When black activists get targeted by surveillance, Republicans cheer it on. When student protesters speak up, the right demands mass arrests. But when a billionaire sex trafficker's files implicate the global ruling class, suddenly we've got, "We're not sure. I don't know. I'll get back to you." And actually, subpoenas don't work. The message is unmistakable. Some victims matter, others don't. Some crimes are pursued. Others are politely avoided. And the dividing line is wealth, race, power, and the ability to embarrass the politically protected. Let's place this where it belongs. Epstein exploited young girls because economic desperation makes exploitation possible. Billionaires like Epstein exist because we've built an economy where wealth equals impunity. Institutions bend because power dictates who gets investigated and who gets reviewed internally. Media cycles sanitize powerful predators while demonizing working people, immigrants, and activists. This isn't an accident. It's a structure, engineered, maintained, funded, and fiercely defended. Every time a powerful man's accountability becomes complicated, democracy becomes weaker. So here's the truth. If the FBI director cannot say whether Donald Trump is on the Epstein client list, that is not reassurance. That is indictment. It tells us the system protects its own, and the rest of us are expected to accept it. But I refuse to accept a system where victims are ignored, elites are shielded, and truth becomes optional. And if you're with me, if you believe justice means everyone is accountable, stick around. We've got a lot more to uncover.